My name is Jason, and I am a Los Angeles contractor and real estate developer. I've built over 100 single-family custom homes. Over the last 11 years, I've decided that now is the time to really start educating people on what we do, how we do it, and the whole process behind it. My job is to basically buy properties, build them, and sell them, right? That's what I'm here for. That's the name of the show, Buy, Build, Sell. Are you interested in getting into the trades? Are you interested in being a contractor? Are you a developer? Are you in the real estate industry at all? Are you in the lending or financing side of real estate? If you are, this is the best place to be, because I'm going to teach you all the tips and tricks in getting into this industry, doing this industry well, and being the most proficient builder you can possibly be. If you're not yet a builder and you have desires to be one, then you're at the right spot, because I'm here to teach you all of those tips and tricks. I'm going to show you all of the ins and outs of my industry. I'm going to try to make sure that I'm teaching you everything I possibly can about what I do. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad you guys are gonna be a part of this journey with me, and I look forward to showing more of the process with you. This is Buy, Build, Sell, and I'm here to show you. And just like that, within about a week and a half, we're back at the job site and we're pouring concrete. Today we are finishing the final level of the concrete. So this was actually a 2-pour process. What you saw before was about a day or two before we had actually poured the footings. And then once we poured the footings, we were able to bend the rebar, get the slab in place, and now we're pouring the slab. So we're pouring the final aspect of the foundation before we start framing the actual house. So this is the day that is the most exciting, because we're so close to finishing one trade and moving on to the next one. It's kind of a little bit of an accomplishment, right? You have a lot of things happening here. The first thing that we're doing is we're pouring all the concrete into place. The second thing we're doing is we're gonna be troweling it, and then we're gonna be floating it and then finishing it. These are all the aspects that you're seeing, and you're basically seeing everything happen in succession. You have the concrete being poured, you have the guys right behind the concrete being poured right there. Those guys are gonna be floating all of the concrete to try to make it as level as possible. Then you're gonna see this guy over here, he's troweling it. He's getting all the little undulations as level as possible from that standpoint. And then right after he's done with his area, he's gonna take his finishing tool and finish it. So like right there, he's using his finish tool and he's finishing the concrete to be a nice smooth surface. That's basically the process of concrete. That's how we do it. From this standpoint, there's not really much else we can do. We made sure that everything was where it needed to be. All the plumbing, the electrical was where it needed to be. We made sure that our elevations were where they were supposed to be. We're noticing right now that actually the slab is a little higher than it may have loved it to be, just because now we're gonna need to backfill a lot of this. But that's not really a problem because the front is good. So the front being good, this being a little low, we're just gonna bring this up a tad, make all the elevations work, make the pool work. This actually helps us a ton because it makes the drainage and trenching a lot easier while we're in construction. So we can actually just dig a few inches and then bury it on top. So it's actually a pretty big help. So you might be wondering how we keep the full slab consistent. How do we know that it's staying level throughout the whole entire pour? Well, what we do is we set multiple markers throughout the foundation. We'll set wood inside with the piece right there. And that's how you'll do it without technology. But we also have this tool right here, which is actually a laser. And what it's doing right now is it's spinning consistently, shooting out a laser. So we can take our laser reader, and what we do is we'll set our level, and then we can set this right here, and you'll see it's actually beeping. And once it gets to like right there, it's gonna like beep for a long time. That's how you know that it actually is level and it's at the point that it needs to be. So we use this throughout the whole entire slab of the project, so we know that everything is where it needs to be in terms of level. That gives us a pretty even slab to work with when we're setting our trim work, when we're setting our walls, when we're setting our windows, when we're setting our floors. This is a really important part of the process, so we know that we're not having any issues later on within the project. What you're seeing behind me right now, I have no idea what the name of the machine is, but it's basically multiple trowels that are working simultaneously to finish the concrete. It's doing all it's really doing is finishing a larger surface, because with one single trowel, you're only gonna get the motion that your hand can provide. With this, you're getting about 3 feet in surface at every moment, and that's gonna give us a much more consistent finish across the board. It's gonna make sure that overall, we're getting a much more even surface to work with. So on the garage, you can see that the garage pretty much looks finished. You might be wondering why there's still finishers on the slab. Well, the concrete is curing constantly. And basically there's multiple spots in which we're finishing it. We're letting it harden and then finishing it again, harden and finishing it again. The reason for that is that way at the final coat, when it's almost at the top, drying and curing completely, that hopefully we've had a finished product completely done. No more imperfections, no more air bubbles, no more things coming to the surface. It's completely finished, and we know that this will finally be the final result of the product.
So one of the first things that we do is we really start with what I call the build book. We create a whole entire book or pamphlet specifically for each project. So we'll do elevations, CAD drawings, design renderings, spreadsheets with all of our building materials. We give a comprehensive data of what the project will have at the end of it. We really start that from the day that we submit our plans to the city. We are on top of getting all of the information possible for our projects. So that's the first thing that we do when we're actually starting a project. And that's probably one of my favorite parts, because that gives me the ability to be creative and experience doing things differently. The second thing you want to do is you really want to consider all of your resources. Can I accomplish this? Can I do this? Is it within budget? Of who's going to be responsible for X, Y, and Z. So by getting the build book, by having the number one piece in place, you can then start to extract all of that information. Okay, great. We want these windows, these plumbing fixtures, this flooring design style, these painting elements, whatever it is, these appliances. Now you can say, okay, all right, well, we have a plumber for this, we have a painter for that. Does that fall in line? Now you can actually take all of this information, you can actually give it to a plumber before you're even starting the project. Then you can say, hey, bid this out for me. Arbitrarily pricing something is very difficult. If someone comes up to you and says, hey, can you give me a price for plumbing a house? Well, how many sinks do you have? How many toilets are you installing? What do I need to do? Do I need to do the rough? Am I just installing the finish? If I was installing the finish, do you provide the finisher? All of these questions start to arise. So it's like, you just want price. You don't want to be answering questions. So having that build book in place allows you to say, here's the architectural plan, here's the design plans, this is the specs of the finishes that we're going to be installing. Give me a price. Now you can actually land within your budget, or if, let's say you wanted to spend $50,000 on plumbing and you got 3 bids that all came out at $65,000 or within that range, you can say, okay, it's clearly not the labor portion. It's clearly something that I've done on my side of the fence that I need to adjust with. So which toilets do I swap them out with for a different toilet? Or how do I save $5,000 on plumbing fixtures? Or what can be adjusted or changed? Now you can have conversations with the plumber and go, okay, well, why is the job at $65,000? I need it to be $10,000 less. Where can we save some? Well, if we change this to that, or we do this to this, now we have an intelligent conversation in place, and it's much easier to move forward with your trades, with your subcontractors. The third thing that I want to talk about is the management aspect of it and the tools that are used to communicate on a project. A lot of people use tools like Contractor, Builder's Trend, even free software like Asana. Every single product out there has a value to it. What I found is that most of those products are beyond my means. They do so many incredible things, and they're beyond what we use them for. So there's no reason to get involved in that standpoint of in softwares, because if you're only using one aspect of the tool and there's 10 pieces of the tool that you could be using, it almost becomes a waste. So within our infrastructure, we've actually developed a system through spreadsheets and Dropbox to allow everyone to be on the same communication level, which is great. Just being able to really keep in touch, and it's changed my world completely. And my advice to you on that is really, it doesn't matter how you get organized, just get organized. So if you even look back at what I'm talking about, the organizational process of building a home, if you can be organized throughout that process, you will execute beautifully. It all starts with how you design the house, how you execute that house, and how you're organizing that house to make sure that everything flows according to plan. There are 1,000 options for you to look at, but you need to do the research to find what's right for you. When we're talking about building effective teams, the first thing you need to do is build your own team first. Whether you're a one-person show or you have a team of people on your team to help you perform, the first thing you need to do is make sure that what you're doing is properly set up for anyone else who joins that system to be just as efficient as possible. Okay, this is the most important thing that people don't realize. If you're a sloppy person or a messy person or an incoherent person and you don't know how to communicate well and you're all over the place, how can you expect that the people that are working for you in any fashion, meaning as an employee or a subcontractor, why are they supposed to perform better than you? You need to perform at a high level every single day so everyone around you understands your expectation of yourself and how they need to perform for you as well. That's one, setting that expectation is super important. I think that when you're building a team, whether that be through employees or through subcontractors, finding people who are like-minded like you, have the right team building efforts, that they meet all of the requirements of your culture, of your company, whether that be, humility, hustle, and smarts, right? Whatever those core things are that you believe are strong to your company, you want to make sure that when you're bringing people into your fold, that they're of the same like-mindedness, that they believe in the same things you believe in, that they're going to push as hard as you do. And obviously no one's ever going to, it's not their company, right? It's your company. So they're never going to care as much as you do. But if you can find the right people to be within your system that fall in line with where you are as well, you're going to find that things are going to click a lot this year. Sometimes you'll find 2 out of 3, and that person might be really great for a short term, but they're not going to make it long. So really try and do your best to be at the forefront of that. That's going to make your team building experiences a lot easier. If you go back to one of the beginning points of this video, what we like to do is we like to do trade walks and trade discussions. So we also, like when we're starting a project, we're getting the plumber out here, we're getting the electrician out here before they're doing any work, and we're talking to them. Hey, we're going to be doing this in this house. These are the plans that we're going to be doing. This is what it's going to take. Let's make sure that you're taking the material takeoffs. What are you going to need when the trenches are ready? Where do you need the trenches? Can you mark the trenches out for us? So we're actually having the foundation company team up. What do we need to do together to accomplish our goals? So we're working in synergy, in unison, to accomplish these things. We're not saying you guys are separate. It's together.
Other than that, that's really concrete. If you guys have any other questions on this episode, please leave them down below in the comments. Of course, if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead, subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you on the next video.